Hi everyone, myself Kunal and welcome to KBTechnology. Today our topic is Kubernetes. So today we'll discuss about how to use Kubernetes Cluster and how to use Kubernetes with .NET Core. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss in our today's session. So first, what is Kubernetes? Second, what is difference between Docker versus Kubernetes? Third, how to create Kubernetes pod. Fourth, how to create load balancer with external IPs. Fifth, how to deploy .NET service in Kubernetes cluster. So first, we'll discuss about Kubernetes. What is Kubernetes? Kubernetes, also known as K8s, is an open source system for automatic deployment, scaling, and management of containerized applications. So now, difference between Kubernetes and Docker. So Kubernetes is a container orchestration tool, whereas Docker is a tool to deploy container. Kubernetes is meant to run across a cluster, whereas Docker run on a single node. Using Kubernetes, different nodes can communicate with each other, whereas in Docker, communication between two different nodes is not possible. Kubernetes is open source platform. Also, this is widely used in industries. Docker Swarm is used to managing container, which comes with the enterprise edition and not preferred by most companies. Kubernetes takes care of scaling and failover for your application running on the container. Docker automatic scaling and failover for your application running on the container not possible. So now how to create Kubernetes cluster. Okay, we'll see the example. So for that, you should have in your system uh, first Docker desktop and second Visual Studio 2. So let's start. So I have already installed the Docker desktop, and this software you can get it from docker.com. Okay, so once you install this Docker desktop, you need to go in setting and you need to go into Kubernetes and enable the Kubernetes features. Okay, then you can use the uh, Kubernetes feature in Docker desktop. Okay, so now I'll create a new application in Visual Studio. So I'll create a ASP.NET Core application. So I'll create a cube demo. Okay, cube demo, cube API demo, cube API demo. Okay, so here you need to select enable Docker. You need to select a operating system, Docker operating system. I've selected the Linux. Okay, so this project is created and also Docker file is created here. Okay, so these are the weather forecast controller. Once this project is created, you can see still it is Docker configuration is going on. Once it is created successfully, you can see here image is created here, cube API demo, right? So which I have created, this is cube API demo. Okay, and the tag is created as a dev container. Also you can check cube API demo, right? It has created. So now we'll come to here and we'll open the developer PowerShell. This will be under command line. I'll clear the screen. I will check what all pod is currently running. First, we'll check Kubernetes config file, config detail, config get context. Spelling mistake. So you need to run kubectl. Okay, you can see we have the cluster running, that is Docker cluster, Docker desktop, and auth info is Docker desktop. Just clear the screen. Okay, now we'll see what all pod is running. Get pod. See, these many pods are running, but there is none of the pod which is related to Kube API demo. See, there is none of the pod related to our project. This is already I have created earlier. That's why it is running and it is running mode. We'll check what else services is now. It will show you the list of services. Again, there is a spelling mistake. Cube. So there is two services is up and running. Load balancer is already there. So I will delete this load balancer so that I can create a new one. Delete. Okay, 1 second. Delete cube test API. SVC. So now I have deleted the load balancer, whatever we had. Now clear the screen and we'll create everything one by one. Okay. So what we'll do, I'll just run this application. I will show you what all response we are getting from this services, and same thing we'll do it from, once we'll deploy the services in the container, we'll call that services and we'll check means whether the same result is loading or not. Even means if you are running the Docker, you can also see here all the details, container details, you can get it here. Images you can see here. Even though environment details you can see here. So all the details in Visual Studio, also all the container details, all the environmental, you can get it from here one itself. Okay. So now this page is loaded. I'll check what services we have. This is the curl URL which you are getting. So it's an inbuilt template, okay, which Visual Studio giving us. So we'll check this what response we are getting. See, this response we are getting through the localhost when we are running this Visual Studio. Now, what we are going to do, we will check once our service will deploy, then without running our Visual Studio, this result is loading or not. Okay. So for that, what we'll do, we'll just stop this Visual Studio, and this is our services, right? We'll create a new build with the different image. We'll create a different image for that. So for what we can do, Docker build -t, and we need to give the username, Docker username. So Docker username, we have. So this one is a Docker username. Okay, you have to click on profile and see the username. So we'll give the username and we'll give them this one name. What is Kube API demo, and we'll give the tag name. Tag name I'll give the V2. So it will be you can also call the version name kind of thing here. And -f, you need to give the path name. That is a project path name. So it's a Cube API Cube API demo slash doc. Okay. See, it started building our services with the new image name is Cube API demo V2. Okay. So once this build is done, I'll show you it will appear here in the Docker desktop. See, it has created now. We'll check image. See, Cube API demo, right? Cube API demo V3. Sorry, Cube API demo. Cube API demo. We'll search here. See, Cube API demo V2 is created. If you see here, Cube API demo, we had given the same name, Cube API demo V2, right? So it has created a different tag name V2. Okay, just 1 second back, right? So now our image is created. Now we need to push this image to Docker container, right? So what you need to Docker push. Again, I need to give that username. I'll select the username slash, and what is the image name which we had given? Cube image name we had Cube API demo, right? So Cube API demo v2. Tag name also you need to give. So it started pushing the image into Docker container. So still pushing it. So now it is done. So it is pushed our images in Docker container, right? So now we'll check what all pod is running in the Kubernetes. kubectl get pod. See, all pod, these are the pod is running, but none of them is related to our services, Kube's test API, right? So it is none of them is our pod related. Okay. So sorry, none of them is our service related. Our is Cube API demo v2. Okay. So now what we'll do, we'll create a deployment file here, so that we will create a, once I'll create a deployment, then it will show our pod there. So add new item, we need to create a YML file for the deployment. Okay. So here we create a deployment.yml. Basically, it will create an empty file, but I have a code handy with me. So I have a code handy with me. So I'll just, you know, I'll put this code in our description window so that you can copy it from there. Okay. So I'll give some name here, Cube API demo. Okay. Cube API demo. And here you need to give the same image name which we have created, Cube API demo v2, right? So you can see we have created a Cube API demo v2. So you need to give here so that it will create a deployment for this one. Okay, these are the metadata name, these are the replica name, and this is the container port which our container will run on 80. Okay, so now save it and clear the screen. Now kubectl apply -f and -f. I need to give that path name of deployment file. So our application is Cube API demo slash deployment.yml. So check deployment.yml. This is Cube API demo and this is the deployment.yml. So I had given the Cube API demo deployment.yml, right? So now if you click on that, it is deployment is created now, right? Now you can check the pod detail. So I'll check the pod detail. How you can check this? Through the command kubectl get pod. See, this pod name should be like this one, Cube API demo. Okay, so Cube API demo. Where is the Cube API demo? Cube API demo, Cube API. This one, these three. If you see that, these are the our files. Okay, the rest of them is the another application pointing to. So these are the deployment file which had created our the pod here. Okay. Now we have to create a services here. So how to create services? First, we'll check what all services we have. This is the command to see the services. So currently there is no services is showing, only the registered system services, some Kubernetes cluster IP it is showing there. So there is no external IP. So we'll create a load balancer with the external IP so that we can call our services locally. So how we can do that? So we'll create a service.yml file now. Service.yml. Okay. So here also it will create a empty file. Since I have a code with me, so don't worry, I'll put this code to description window. Okay, so you can copy it from there. So this one, I'll explain you what exactly it is. So this is the metadata. Okay, metadata name should be same whatever you had given the deployment YML, and this is the port configuration. So port is 80, target port is 80. Since we are creating a load balancer, so you need to give the type equal to load balancer. Even though there is another configuration you can do, if you want to give some external IPs, you can give the external IPs. You can mention here external IP here. So there is several configuration you can do in the service.yml. But I'm simply explaining you the basic things. So here I had given the port details and type equal to load balancer. So it will create external IP as a local host in the services. Okay. So just save it. And now I will just clear the screen and I will apply the services now. So how will apply? Through the command kubectl apply -f or -f and give the path. Path is cube API demo slash service dot yml. Let me confirm the project path name cube API demo and service dot yml. Correct. See, it has created the services now. So now we'll see the service detail. kubectl get svc. See, it has created the load balancer with the local host, right? Now we'll check whether without running Visual Studio, will get the result or not. Okay, so we'll open the Chrome browser. Okay, so we had a local host forecast, right? See, now it is result is loading now, right? So what I did, I simply created a deployment file. Okay, so what deployment file does, it will create a pod in the Kubernetes cluster, and then this service which we have created, which will, whatever image we had, it will, deploy there in our Kubernetes cluster and start, working through the local host. Since we already created a load balancer there, right? So we have that external IP, which is as load balancer with the port of 80, and this port is 31776. This port has created 80 colon 31776 with the external IP local host. So now you can access your services from the local hosts because it is running in the cluster IP. This one, okay, Kubernetes cluster IP. This one. So this is the Kubernetes cluster, like how we to use Kubernetes cluster, which I already explained you. So we have created a Kubernetes cluster where we have created the pod, and then we have created a services there with the load balancer, which is directly calling our services. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe my YouTube channel and like my YouTube channel. Thank you.